Halloween was last night, but the UNC campus was celebrating all week. Coming up, some of our reporters went around and covered the celebrations across campus.
Plus, what's scarier than UNC's $10 million financial deficit? We talk about new ideas for ways our President's Council is trying to reduce that deficit. This is Bear News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Ashley Franco.
And I'm Tanner Schwint. Greeley Police Department, Evans Police Department, and UNC teamed up to take back prescription drugs. They wanted people to use this free service to dispose of drugs safely. They set up 3 locations: Greeley Police Headquarters, the UNC University Center parking lot, and the Sam's Club parking lot. Officer Larry Raymer was the officer in charge of collecting medications at the UNC location. He had a lot to say about what happens to the drugs they collect.
So what happens is, what we do, we collect all the prescription medication, and then I take it to the Greeley Police Department. And so Greeley Police will immediately take it down to Denver. There's a location, they have a drop-off. And what happens is all that prescription medications ends up going to Utah, and they usually have some semis that would transport all the prescription medication from the whole state of Colorado.
As Raymer says, they plan another take back in April 2019. For more information, check out Greeley City's website at greeleygov.com or contact Greeley Police Neighborhood Action Team Officer Arpad Baladi at 970-351-5361.
5 days. That's how long until the November 6th elections. Although it's a midterm election, there's a lot of interest around the country because of the Congress. Both the U.S. House and Senate feature Republican majorities. Will that still be true on November 7th? Bear News reporter Dalton Lanik is live in the studio with our final pre-election look at the races and where you can vote in Weld County.
Ever since 1934, the President's Party has lost seats in the first midterm after the president's election. The average loss for the party in power is 23 seats over that time. Taking a look at the House of Representatives, all 435 seats are up for election in Tuesday's election. Republicans currently control 235 seats compared to the Democrats' 193. Democrats have to pick up 25 seats to become the majority party this year. Recent polls suggest the House is a toss-up on next Tuesday, though quite a few races that had been thought to be safe have tightened considerably. Over in the Senate, Republicans cling to a slim majority, holding 51 of the 100 seats. Democrats hold 47 seats, and there are 2 independents who caucus with the Democrats. Democrats have to defend 25 of the 33 seats up for election next Tuesday, while Republicans defend just 8. Of those, at least 14 Democrat seats are considered safe, with at least 3 others leaning Democratic. The other 8 Democratic seats are in states that Donald Trump carried handily in the 2016 election. 6 of those are highly vulnerable. They include Jon Tester of Montana, Bill Nelson of Florida, Claire McCaskill of Missouri, Heidi Heitkamp of North Dakota, Joe Manchin of West Virginia, and Joe Donnelly of Indiana. 2 other races are surprisingly close. Sherrod Brown in Ohio is in a tight race for re-election after facing domestic violence charges. Bob Menendez is running neck and neck in his re-election bid in reliably blue New Jersey after numerous ethical violations and a trial for bribery that ended in a hung jury. 3 Republican seats are considered safe, while the others are all leaning Republican. 2 Republican seats are open after the retirements of incumbents Bob Corker of Tennessee and Jeff Flake of Arizona. While both of those races have been tight through the summer, Republican candidates have opened up leads in both in recent weeks. Taking a look at where you can vote in Weld County, there are 5 places you can vote in person through Election Day. You can see all of those locations on the screen. There are 14 locations where you can drop off your ballots but cannot vote in person. You can see some of those locations on your screen as well. On Election Day itself, there are 6 voter service and polling centers where you can vote in person, including 1 at UNC. All of those locations are open from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. And finally, you can drive up and drop off your ballot at the Weld County Election Office on Election Day between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So you have a lot of options to vote and have your voice heard. We encourage all of you to get out and vote wherever you are and participate in this unique opportunity. Ashley?
Thanks for your continuing coverage, Dalton. You have 2 ways of getting election results. Join us on KFKA Radio 1310 AM in Greeley. Bear News is joining with KFKA to send our reporters out to gather election returns and bring them to you as soon as they're available. So join us Tuesday evening for live election returns on KFKA. And be sure to join us next Thursday when we'll have a wrap-up of the congressional races as well as local offices. Well, Wednesday was Halloween, we all know that, but at UNC, the ghouls didn't wait until night. They came out in the morning. That's right, when it comes to spooks, UNC's classified staff know the best way to scare up a good time early in the morning. You could find costumes of all kinds worn by UNC's custodial facilities and administrative staff, from fairies to garden gnomes and even crayons. UNC's ghosts and ghouls came creeping out early in the morning for a good cause. They set up Bear Pantry's donation tubs along with a raffle and even a costume competition. There's never a bad time to get involved with giving, especially with the holiday season right around the corner.
Now, there's no doubt there's lots of opportunities this week for Halloween-related activities, but Fetch Lab took it one step further. As Bear News reporter Kathy Aldana tells us, they had their second Halloween event to raise money for hearing evaluation for dogs and horses.
Fetch Lab held the event outside of Gunter Hall in the South Lawn.
The Halloween event that was held was sponsored by the University of Northern Colorado Fetch Lab program, which is a graduate certificate in animal audiology.
Fetch Lab provides hearing evaluations for dogs and horses similar to those provided to babies.
So the purpose of this event was to get the community together and just have a friendly competition between dogs and have costumes all set up because it is around Halloween, and just kind of spread the word that we are providing these services, and it's something that all dog owners and all horse owners should consider.
UNC is the second school to adopt the program.
So it's a growing program. A third university and a fourth university have adapted their own programs, and it's a new profession within the field of audiology.
Besides the very important message behind the event, there was an immense happiness among dog owners and their fashionable dogs. Amanda Cook was walking her dog when she noticed the event. She then decided to join in on the fun.
Yeah, I was just walking by actually, and then I saw a couple of my friends and they told me about the costume contest and what it was about, so yeah.
Amanda and her dog Clyde won 3 prizes.
Yeah, we won the ball toss, and then the obstacle course, and then 25-yard dash.
Today's event was full of dog treats and dog prizes. This is Kathy Aldana, Bear News.
Now, that is a new Halloween activity and a great way to help out your furry friends. For more information, visit Fetch Lab, UNC Director Catherine Bright at Gunter Hall. Now, let's get a check at your first weather forecast with meteorologist Abigail Stewart. Abigail, we have seen a major cool down in temperatures this past week. How's it looking out there right now?
Right now on campus, it's 56 degrees with cloudy skies, and it is quite windy outside here on campus. Right now along the Front Range, we're seeing temperatures in the 50s with temperatures near freezing in the mountains and temperatures around 50 degrees in the Great Plains. Right now, clouds coming from the north into Colorado, and we do have a system moving out onto the east coast currently. Now, over the next few days, we are going to see quite the cool down in our forecast, and that's partially due to the jet moving cold air from Canada down into Colorado, which is going to greatly reduce our high temperature over the next couple of days. I have more and that coming up.
The President's Leadership Council is ready to take action in regards to the university's financial issues. The council met October 22nd to discuss 13 different opportunities to address UNC's $10 million structural deficit. Some of these options include offering a faculty early retirement program, targeted layoffs, reviewing athletics for cost reduction ideas, and moving to a high deductible health plan as a base plan. These ideas are part of a university-wide effort to try and reduce spending and start saving in order to shrink UNC's structural deficit. The President's Leadership Council Task Force recommendation rollout will now happen on January 8th instead of its previous rollout date, which was December 14th. The council will put on an event for the rollout in the UC ballrooms. Everyone is welcome to attend. For more information and the full list of cost-saving ideas, you can visit the UNC website and look under the Office of the President page.
After the break, I go downtown to explore one of Greeley's hidden treasures, a store that promotes local artists and even has a touch of UNC.
And you guessed it, more Halloween. We'll take a closer look at some of the events that happen right here on our campus. Stay with us.
All right, give me a spot. You know my motto, safety first.
They could be dangerous. I think we should call animal control.
Animal control?
To be safe.
Don't worry.
Just...
I got got this. It's a new motto.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Here's your check.
Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
In a newfound electronic world, finding stores that promote local art and local framing is tough. Luckily for Greeley residents and UNC students, Doug's Hang Up stands strong in downtown Greeley. I caught up with co-owner Mark Hunter earlier this week. We're at Doug's Hang Up talking with co-owner Mark Hunter. And Mark, we just took a little bit of a tour around here. Talk to me about all of the fun, awesome artwork that you have here.
Well, we represent about 50 different artists. We have everything from photography, oil, acrylics, watercolor. We like to stay local, northern Colorado. We have some Wyoming, maybe trickle up into Montana, but mostly northern Colorado.
So what got you started in this? I mean, what got you started with Doug's Hang Up and Doug Suggs, your co-owner, of course?
We'd always done picture framing and just kind of progressed into the gallery scene. I'd worked for Maxims of Greeley that was here for, 35 plus years, closed in, I think, 2011. And we just decided, shoot, this is what we're good at, let's keep it going. So
we've been here. So talk us through just a little bit about like the different stories, because we're on the third floor right here of Doug's Hang Up. Talk us through, is there kind of a set out? Is there a design of how everything's set up?
Kind of. We tend to do more photography up on the top floor so I can move it around. We do some shows for like Assistance League of Greeley, United Way, things like that. So I like to make it pretty flexible. Photography seems to be pretty easy to move. So I keep that on the third floor. Second floor, we've kind of had Daryl Price. He's a real funky, like rockabilly kind of artist, and it looks good on that balcony floor, so we keep that. And then the first floor I rotate, with some of our better selling artists, I guess you would say. But not to say there's not top selling artists up here, but it's just stuff that tends to move a little faster is down there.
Yeah, not a problem. So as we walked in, we saw that you guys, you also do a lot with UNC. You do a lot of the framing of jerseys. Talk us through that and what that's all about.
I think it's great. UNC does things for their graduating senior athletes, and we frame a lot of their jerseys. The women, basketball, volleyball, football, baseball. I mean, it's just been great. How do you say? Partnership. Yeah, thank you.
And that's what we love. We've been doing this downtown segment where we've been bouncing around from downtown to downtown. What kind of an impact does UNC kind of have? Because when you look at it, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here you could decorate dorms with. I've got a piece of your painting a piece of your artwork in my office, actually. So what is it? I mean, what does the impact of UNC have on your business down here?
Well, God, it's fantastic. The parents, a lot of students don't spend a ton of money, but gosh, they're all, yes, little stuff, yeah. But the families bringing people in, just like I said, the sports jerseys. I mean, it's just everything. Music department, business. We do a lot of small stuff for a lot of the different parts of the campus.
So what's your favorite part about Doug's Hang Up? I mean, is there one specific thing that you point to and say, okay, that's the best part of what we do. This is the best part of what we do, or is it kind of just the whole atmosphere?
It's the whole atmosphere, and then putting stuff in people's homes. I mean, it's people that actually value artists and understand that they're supporting not just us. They're supporting an artist. They're supporting the community. Yeah, it helps everything grow. So, placing stuff in people's homes, seeing the joy it brings to them. I mean, that's the best part of the business.
From paintings of local artists to framing UNC athletes' jerseys, Doug's Hang Up does it their way.
Well, Nelson is just getting started, but as Bear News reporter Chris Bolin highlights what a start it has been.
With Nelson, you get a little bit of everything. When it comes to inspiration, the band, consisting of frontman Nick Nelson, keys player Landon Mills, guitar player Connor Shaw, and drummer Mike Ryan, casts a pretty wide net in the world of music. And with it, they get a sound that's all their own.
The good thing about us is we have jazz. We have you know, like John Mayer, Ed Sheeran, you know, jazz and hip hop over here, and then I'm like Americana, and the reason why we sound unique is because all those are together and you can hear it.
But that sound they learned can't be forced.
Whenever we try to define our sound, we really have a problem, but I don't think of it as a bad problem. I think of it as more of a, we don't know what this sound is yet, and that's kind of the fun part, is like the process of finding new sounds and making new textures or pads to, you know, make songs over.
That unique sound is on full display in the band's first full-length album, The Wind. The Wind has been over a year in the making, starting when the current lineup came together. And Nelson started 2 years ago in frontman Nick Nelson's dorm room, with Shaw playing riffs and melodies over Nelson's progressions. But it wasn't until the addition of Mills and later Ryan that The Wind actually started to take shape.
This album kind of started as once Mike joined the group, because we found like our own sound, because we had Landon drumming and playing the keys and bass. We were just kind of making mistakes along the way, and we were learning from them, which was good. And then Mike came to the band, and we were like, okay, now we better do something about it. So.
And even once the pieces were in place, it still took a while to get into the recording studio, because though all the genres blend on the record, it's not an immediate process.
You know, either Nick or I, or you know, however it comes out, will write the song itself, and then you know we'll bring it in, and through weeks and weeks and weeks of rehearsing and just experimenting with different things, it turns into what it's actually going to be. You know, because like the first time we play it, other than maybe your guitar parts, like I would venture to guess that between that and between the final thing, like none of it is the same.
There's a lot of meshing that happens when there's a new song on the table that we run through it, and you know it kind of takes a few times, and then suddenly there's just stuff that starts to fall together that's just like, holy cow, that worked so well. And that really impresses me, because it's each of their musicianship comes into play there, and they take complete opposite corners of music and then like marry them into something amazing.
But once all the pieces of the puzzle come together, they fit perfectly. So what's next?
So we pretty much have a brand new album already. We just need to rehearse it a lot.
Yeah, that'll be another year or so process to be another.
But for the time being, they just want to play this album. And they want to reach as many people as possible when they do that.
We want people to feel the music and really be a part of it and interpret it in their own way that's meaningful.
Reporting for Bear News, I'm Chris Bolin.
Nelson plans to take the show on the road in the near future. The band already has plans to play shows in southern Colorado, Wyoming, and Nebraska. Well, before October wraps up and Thanksgiving and Christmas inch a little closer, UNC made sure to celebrate Halloween in a couple of different ways. The first event featured games held by various sports teams at the Bank of Colorado Arena. Kids dressed up in costumes, and some students even walked around playing games and getting some treats all before Tuesday's basketball game started. The next was at the University Center, as all the offices decorated for the Halloween season and handed out candy to people who stopped by. Christmas may be just around the corner, but UNC definitely made sure that Halloween wasn't forgotten.
Well, with Halloween last night, I saw many superhero costumes. They got some of us here at Bear News talking about superpowers and what kind of superpowers we'd like to have. Bear News reporter Matt Jenkins went to the University Center to see what kind of superpowers UNC students would like to have themselves.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
I think if I could have one superpower, it would be to duplicate myself, so I could be in multiple places at different times.
So I would pick telekinetic energy, because you can move stuff with your mind, and that would be so dope, right? Just be like, ooh, I need the TV remote, whoosh. I think that'd be rad.
Super speed, so I could just travel anywhere really fast, get to wherever I need, and I wouldn't have to worry about like plane tickets or like train fare anymore, stuff like that.
I would want to be able to read minds so that I could know who's a fake snake and who's not.
I definitely pick like super strength, because then I could just like, when you're sitting in traffic, you just shove all the cars out of the way and you just go right on through and
Cool.
just throw them. They'll die. That's it.
I would have the power of flight, so I didn't have to pay for airplane tickets.
I would want to read minds so I can know what people are thinking.
I'd want to fly because, like, ever since I was a little kid, I've always wanted to fly. I think that would be cool.
There are many different types of superpowers out there, but for me, I'd want to gain all of the information that I've ever been told and just keep it in the back of my head. Reporting from the University Center, this is Matt Jenkins, Bear News.
Thanks, Matt. Now, it's always been a tight one for me. Would I like to be invisible? Would I like to fly? Hey, why don't I just keep here and being Anchor?
Well, the heat is starting to calm down, meaning winter in Colorado is starting to fire up. After the break, Abigail will have the full weather forecast and if the cold weather will stick around. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Anderson Cooper. As a parent, you want to make sure that your child knows how to deal with bullying when they see it happening. And chances are they want to help, but they don't really know how. Well, teach them that the best thing to do is calmly walk away, find a teacher or other adult, and speak up. And do your part. Be that adult they can talk to and trust will listen. Join me to help stop bullying. Go to stopbullying.gov to find out more.
You sure you don't want some? It's chamomile. Listen, you are extremely terrifying. Just the scariest undead subhuman thing on TV, and I really mean that. But I am worried that you could give my kids nightmares if they see you, so I'm gonna have to block you. So that's it. Oh, and tell the zombies they're blocked too.
Welcome back. I'm meteorologist Abigail Stewart. Right now, snow in the mountains being brought about by this cold front that's currently moving into the state. We've also got that system moving out onto the east coast. Now, on Friday morning, we're going to see that cold front transition to a stationary front over Colorado, and we're going to keep that snow in the higher mountains. But on Saturday, we're going to see that system push through Colorado, which is going to bring widespread snow to the mountains and a potential for rain in our forecast here in Greeley. For Friday morning, we're going to see temperatures of around 65 degrees for the high, starting off at 35 degrees, warming up to 55 degrees by noon. For the next couple of days, it's going to be quite cold. Friday is actually going to be our warmest day out of the 7-day forecast, with 50s expected for the rest of the week. We do have a chance for increasing clouds on Sunday, transitioning to some rain on Monday, and we're going to keep those low temperatures in the 30s and 20s for the rest of the week. Back to you.
Thanks, Abigail. Well, it's been a little cloudy, a little cooler. I'm ready for a cool down. I'm ready for the snow.
Yeah, well, it's Colorado weather, right? We never know what we're going to get. I'm sure you'll be getting your snow before soon.
I hope so. Well, the boys are back in business. The UNC football team had their second win of the season this past weekend.
Plus, our sports guy might be an expert on camera, but when it comes to the real deal, he might need a little help. You'll see what I mean in our new segment, How Hard Can It Be? Ben Shoemate has all of the highlights and his first run with his new segment coming up in sports.
Kids will spend 8 minutes decorating their little brother.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
UNC basketball team opened up their season Tuesday night, giving fans a look at the new team. And as Bear News reporter Trevor Sherman tells us, the Bears certainly can pull up from 3.
Although the Bears are expecting key contributions from freshmen this year, the Bears can count on performances from returning starters Jordan Davis, Jonah Radabaugh, and Jalen Sanders.
Our guys did a really good job of understanding our opponent, understanding what they do best. They're a team that last year averaged 25 three-point field goal attempts a game, and it was a good challenge for our three-point defense, which was #1 in the country last year. And up until the last 2 minutes, I mean, it hadn't made a three. And so for us to really try to make them beat us with twos, I thought we really followed and executed the game plan, especially with having a younger team and without Jalen out there. I mean, there was a lot of guys playing their first kind of Division I game under game conditions. And so for our guys to come out under the lights and kind of get the jitters out of them and to compete the way they did for 160 possessions, I thought it was a good effort.
Senior guard Jordan Davis led the team with 24 points, followed by Jonah Radabaugh with 11 and freshman Brody Hume with 10.
When we did a really good job as a team of sharing the basketball. We're probably not going to shoot 49 threes again in a game. I'm all about shooting threes, but 49 is quite a bit. But out of those 49, I mean, I thought most of them were good shots. Being such a young team, I mean, we can't give away days. I mean, this is the time of year where some teams just, they're just waiting for games. Well, we're not in a position to wait for games, and we got to wait for practice, and we can't give away, those days to get better. And with a younger team, I mean, we're going to have moments where we are young, but the sooner that we can get these guys up to speed and by conference play, get these freshmen not playing like freshmen is going to help us in the long run. So just going to keep doing what we do and not going to throw days away. We're just going to keep getting after it on the practice court and try to get better.
For Bear News, I'm Trevor Sherman.
The Bears' regular season kicks off next Friday against Colorado College at 7 p.m. in the Bank of Colorado Arena. The University of Northern Colorado men's rugby team put on a good fight in the playoffs, clawing their way into the conference championship game. The Bears took on Western Saturday and delivered a beating. The guys swarmed out of the gates, putting up 36 points in the first half, while Western only put up 6. Western did manage to score a few more tries during the second, but the Bears continued the punishment, adding 2 more tries to the scoreboard. All 8 Bears scored tries for a final of 48-20, advancing them to the conference championship game. But there, UNC got a dose of its own medicine in a showdown against Montana State. The Bears couldn't seem to get on the same page against the Division #1 rugby squad, as they only scored 2 tries. That is until the very last play of the game. That play was pretty huge, especially for the program's Brendan Balms. Brendan is the team's special needs player, but please don't let that fool you. On the very last play, Brendan came in and tacked on 1 more try as the game clock read 0. A beautiful moment, but that special try wasn't enough to make the comeback as the Bears fell in a bittersweet battle against Montana State 42-20. The Colorado Avalanche ended their 2-game homestand last Friday against the Ottawa Senators. Former Avalanche Matt Duchene had a special homecoming for the Senators, putting 2 goals in the back of the net. After falling behind 2-0 early, the Avs needed someone to spark the offense. The Senators went into the third period with the lead. Then, the Avalanche skated into high gear and added 4 goals to the scoreboard in the third period. Mikko Rantanen led the team offensively with a goal and 3 assists. Gabriel Landeskog and Nathan MacKinnon had a similar stat sheet, putting up 1 goal and 2 assists each. The Avs left the rink with a smile, winning 6-3. The Avalanche traveled up the road to Minnesota Saturday to face off against the Wild. The Avs and the Wild went into the third period tied at 1. It was a battle until the very end, but unfortunately for the Avs, the Wild got the best of them. The Wild added 2 goals in the third, and a last-minute attempt to come back fell short for the Avs. The Wilds handed the Avs their 3rd regulation time loss. The Avalanche had the last 4 days off as they head into tonight's game at Calgary at 7 p.m. And make it 2 in a row for the University of Northern Colorado football team. The Bears pick up their 2nd straight win Saturday, topping Southern Utah 42-39. In a game that also marked the Bears' first road win in 2 years. UNC started strong, charging out to a 24-11 lead at halftime, and stretching it to as many points as 24 before the Thunderbirds came back. After trailing 35-11, Southern Utah erupted to outscore UNC 28-7 in the last quarter. The Thunderbirds had a chance to win the game late, but an interception by Henry Stelzner on the game's final drive put to rest any hopes of an SUU comeback. The Bears got it done on the ground, led by a pair of running backs rushing for more than 100 yards. That's the first time that's been done in the program's Division I history. Trey Reek churned out 131 yards, and Milo Hill added 118 and 3 touchdowns. UNC plays again Saturday, hosting Eastern Washington at noon. This week, we're going to be introducing a new segment to our sports show, a segment I have dubbed, How Hard Can It Be? Now, in this bit, I find a sport that some of your UNC Bears play without any problems, attend and participate in a practice, and then decide just how hard that sport really is. This week, I took on hockey and UNC's Red Hot club team to let you know if hockey is really as easy or as hard as you think. UNC's club hockey team is quite frankly no joke. They take the sport they play very seriously, and that hard work and effort pays off. They are the American Collegiate Hockey Association back-to-back conference champions, and started this season with 8 wins, 1 loss, and 2 ties. The way the team has played has set high expectations for the team's assistant coach.
Nothing short of definitely going to nationals. This is kind of our last hurrah. We're losing quite a few key guys next year, so we're all in right now.
The way they play the game is so fast, so smooth, and they make it seem so easy. An ease that made me wonder, how hard can hockey actually be? So for the sake of journalism, I laced up some borrowed skates, donned a practice jersey, and hit the ice. In case you wondered, I'm the one in the bright green. They told me bright green means don't hit as hard, and I'm very grateful. We started practice with a couple of what I'm told were simple skating drills. They really weren't that simple. We then moved on to some passing and shooting drills. Most of the time this was filled with me skating much slower than everyone else, missing the puck, and then missing a shot. In fact, I never made a goal against any of the team's goalies. The team's coach would describe drill after drill that involved terms and actions that made little to no sense to me, up until one such meeting when the only words I heard were, "Defend yourself." I decided to sit that drill out. In my mind, everything I was doing felt like I was moving really fast, but in reality, I was moving painfully slow for the other players on the ice. This is the speed at which I was playing the game, and this is the speed UNC sophomore defender Mitch Porter played the game. I don't see that much of a difference. The thing about hockey is that even the captain of the team, Colin Shemelka, agrees it's the hardest sport he's ever played.
I was always pretty athletic as a kid, so I could run and jump and do all those sorts of things, but hockey was definitely the hardest to pick up for me when I was younger.
These players have been playing the game for most of their life and are still learning how to play the game harder, faster, and better. There is one thing that makes the game a slight bit easier, and that's the fans.
So for hockey, I will tell you it is one of the most difficult places to play in the ACHA is in Greeley because we get so much support.
And it definitely helps us when the crowd's loud, when they're cheering for us, and it affects the other team too.
UNC's Hockey Fights Cancer Night packed the team's home ice rink, the Icehaus, with nearly 1,000 fans, the most ever for the event. But for me, fans or no fans, I doubt I'll ever be able to play the game even half as well as the 25 players that make up UNC's team. But to help my case, I can happily tell you that I only fell once. How hard can hockey be? About as hard as that fall. Reporting from the Greeley Icehaus, Ben Shumate, Bear News. And the team was incredibly nice. The coach even invited me back so he can get a better look at me. I politely declined that offer for obvious reasons. UNC's next home game is tomorrow at 8:30 at the Greeley Icehaus against the University of Denver. As always, students get in for free. And if anyone has any ideas for sports I should try, let me know. I'd love to hear what you all think.
So I think I watched that video probably 100 different times. Watching you fall was the highlight of my day. I'm sorry to say that.
That's fine.
So
My
you're
mom
back
felt the
on.
same way.
Okay. So you're back in next week. What are we expecting for next week?
Hopefully next week I get to sit down with UNC's esports team. That's video games. A lot of people don't know we have an esports team, so I'm pretty excited to show that to you guys.
Slightly less chance of concussion, no physical harm for Ben, so he'll be back, right? We're excited for you, man.
Hopefully, no concussions or anything. I hope not, at least, but I will die hundreds of times digitally for your entertainment.
Well, we love the segment, man. We can't wait to see what you've got in store. And remember, Bear News is your on-campus source for all things UNC.
Now, don't forget, daylight saving times ends this weekend, so turn your clocks back and enjoy an extra hour of sleep Sunday morning. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.